This is an overview of Survey Explorer in the Avid report system. We'll start from the dashboard. We know we're working from the dashboard because of this vertical label here on the banner at the top. I've selected the move-in survey by the THBE comparing to the industry. Important thing to think about here when we're going to Survey Explorer is to select a particular area that you want, either a specific division or community. So in this case, I'm going to select a community and show that I can go into a specific area like the Inland Empire. Now I'm going to uncheck all of these so I can select my specific community. I'll select Living Smart Sundance here. I have an option to change my survey period, and for the sake of this training I'll select April. And anytime I make my changes at the top, I need to click to update my report. And this will take us into a filtered view of data based on the criteria that I set at the top. Now I want to go into Survey Explorer from the dashboard, and I have two choices. One would be to go from the Reports menu to Survey Explorer. But if I do that, it will reset all of my parameters that I've sent here, including my community selection and the date that I changed to April. So by using the cross-link functionality, I'll transfer all of my selection criteria over to Survey Explorer. And that's a real quick step and a time saver. Within Survey Explorer, the banner looks similar, although there are some portions of the banner that have been moved or changed. We'll come back and drill down in a second, but you can see that Sundance has been retained and my closing date through the end of April. 25 surveys were found for Sundance in this closing date range. And then Avid breaks out the categories by promoters being our top scores, and we had 21. Passives, who are our mediocre surveys, and 4. Detractors would be the lowest scoring surveys. We have none. Undefined would be those surveys where the homeowner did not select a certain critical question like the willingness to refer question. And then alerts are defined by each individual division. In this case, the Inland Empire Division has chosen that any survey that comes back is defined as an alert, and that way each team member will be notified of surveys, and then you have your choice to choose to select a survey, and you would click on a link, log in, and then you're right into the Avid system. And you would do that for those communities that you're supporting or for the surveys that you want to view. In this section is the filter, where we can look at just promoters or other categories. We can also search within questions on the survey, and each of the Avid surveys has 3 different areas for questions under 3 different categories. One is what you like most about your home, what would you change about your home, and an area to highlight and recognize employees that are deserving recognition. By selecting a search question, you can then define a search term and find all the surveys with that particular term in it. And over here on the right is some additional filtering capabilities. One to point out in particular is this unread function, where if you're using the checkboxes to read your surveys as you complete them, then you can check the unread function here and search for just surveys that you have not read yet. And I'll show you that in a little more detail in just a moment, but that's a real handy function and feature to look at just surveys that you haven't yet reviewed. And then at the bottom part here will allow you to select a specific question within the survey. And again, the calculator means an average of scores below this category. So in this case, if I were to select this here, sales experience, with the calculator, it would be an average of all of the sales experience questions. Or I could review a specific question within the survey and that average for that question. In addition, Avid allows me to view surveys based on the scaled score, which is out of 100. So in this case, our average score was 92.5 with a maximum of 99.7 and a low of 73.4. Or I can look at the raw scores, and that's based on the 6-point Avid scale. So you'll see the numbers showing that particular scale. I can also do a sort based on various aspects, whether it be by the community, by the particular score of the question, or other factors here as well. To view all of the reports, you can click on Paged Reports to view individual surveys or just comments, for example. These are individual page reports where you have to click to page one by one. Continuous reports would just be that, a one long string of reports that can be printed. Or you can also export data from the surveys and your filtering criteria and view those in Excel. Now what I want to do is take you to the lower portion of the Survey Explorer, and we're going to look within PowerPoint for this functionality. The reason I'm having to go into PowerPoint to do this view is because the customers are guaranteed anonymity in the comments that they provide. Even if they choose to have their comments made available for Facebook, we post comments anonymously. So we can't show, since we're doing this in YouTube, a public entity or a source, to show the customer's name with the comments. So what I'm showing you is the lower portion. On the last screen I was showing you here the page reports and continuous reports. This below then are the summaries of the individual surveys. So for this survey here, and I'm using my name, Brent Hill, as the homeowner for this survey, gives a breakdown of the score, and in this case the total home buying experience score, because that's what I was using as the question I was viewing on. You can see total home buying experience is the question, but I could view any of the questions in the survey or averages. It'll show a date closed and the receive date. What I was referring to here is where I would check off whether this survey has been read or not. When you first view surveys coming in, they'll be unchecked and show unread. As I read those, I'll click the box here, and that will allow me to filter by the unread function here. Clicking the box and clicking search will give me only my unread surveys. So that allows me a quick way to get to those surveys that I have not reviewed yet. And then you'll see that there are the three sections for homeowner comments. Anything to change about the service, what they most liked about it, and employees deserving recognition. And then there's a space in the bottom you'll see for employee comments. These comments are only viewed internally, but as with any type of correspondence and communication within the company, you want to remember that those comments could be made public at some point in time or could appear in court. So always be professional and cautious about the type of comments that you use. To view the individual survey, I would click the homeowner name, and this will take me to the next page. And I'm again showing you PowerPoint, so these are screen captures. But in order to hide the customer name, I captured these in PowerPoint. But this is what an individual survey would look like, with detail of the homeowner, their address, particular details including their closing dates, and then it gives a breakdown of all the individual team members who had a part of this particular purchase and service transaction. Then down below will be the various summaries of our scores. We received a 5.1 for the total home buying experience for this survey. The product experience, which is an average of scores for the home, the product, is 5.2. The service experience, which is an average of the service providers, was 4.6. Then we've pulled out at the top the builder's level of caring, their willingness to refer score, or is listed here, recommend to family or friend, then the number of recommendations made. And then you'll see the breakdown of the individual scores within the various areas. And I don't have the capability to scroll down, but you could do that within the Avid system to view the detail of the reports. Once you're finished viewing the detailed survey, you would click on the tab within the web browser, the X in the tab, to close that tab, and then you would be taken back to the Survey Explorer screen, which I'll take you to now. So we're back into the Survey Explorer functionality. That's the capabilities of the Survey Explorer system.